The Tennessee Titans get throttled by the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we have a whole lot to talk about. Let's waste no more time. Sammy, start me up.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Talking Titans.
Ladies and gentlemen, 94 yards. Touchdown, Titans. He is the baddest man in the NFL, and he just took her to the house.
The sickest Tennessee Titans podcast.
Sick!
It's gonna be sick.
Welcome back for another episode of the Sick Podcast, Talking Titans. I am joined by my boy Jarett. Sal is a little under the weather on this Thanksgiving week. And speaking of Thanksgiving, there's so much to be thankful for: family, friends, food, and NFL football. All week long, DraftKings Sportsbook is keeping your Thanksgiving week full of action. New customers can bet just $5 on NFL action to score 150 instantly in bonus bets. No matter your appetite, there's something for you. Money lines, parlays, props, live bets, and so much more. You name it, they've got it.
So download DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code SICKSPORTS. New customers can bet $5 on their NFL Thanksgiving action to score $150 instantly in bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sportsbook betting partner of the NFL, with code SICKSPORTS. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. I love how you rolled right into it with the Thanksgiving weekend, giving thanks to our sponsors and everything. It's so smooth.
It was more smooth than anything our Titans have done this year. But speaking of those Titans, we got destroyed this week. It's looking doom and gloom. There's really not much to be excited about aside from the fact maybe we have our franchise quarterback. I know a lot of people think we do. Some people still think we don't. But that being said, what do you think about last week's performance and, you know, the game as a whole, the team as a whole? I'm sure we'll dive into it more in depth with Vrabel and everything. But what are your thoughts on that game?
The game obviously is atrocious, just like you said. I mean, we're coming into a division game. You think, the roster would be more hyped. And I'm saying roster because I'm gonna get into other things, like you said, with Vrabel, but I'm just talking about in general. The players, I mean, granted, it was hot. I don't care about that. It's a football stadium, division game. You come out against Jacksonville, the first drive, I believe, was pretty good, was it? I don't even remember. First drive was pretty good. Got some points, or they got some points. We were down, but it was a competitive game. The first 5 minutes of the game. Other than that, they just got destroyed. The line just gets destroyed. Their front absolutely killed us, just like Vrabel said in the press conference. They outcoached us. They're a better coached football team, and they're a better team in general. With that being said, he can't even talk right now. He pulls constantly Christian Fulton for Trey Avery. So I mean, I don't know if these guys don't understand the scheme, what's going on during the play. I mean, you hear what's going on in the week with press conferences saying, well, practice isn't relating to games and vice versa. I think Paul Kaharski said today, are you going to switch up Tuesday and Thursday with practices? So I don't know what that's going on with the coaching aspect of it, but the whole game in general. I mean, we have nobody on this roster that can actually make plays. There's 10 out of 53 guys that I think that are actually capable NFL football players. And like I said, we're going to get into the roster without later on, but you still can't put this blame on Vrabel. I don't care what anybody says. So I don't know what your opinion is on it. I mean, we had Thanksgiving, talking about Thanksgiving. We had Thanksgiving early with my parents, and I watched the game, the first half. And then I would say 4 to 5 minutes into the third quarter, I said, that's it. I'm leaving. And it was about an hour and a half ride. I couldn't watch it anymore, to be honest with you. It's bad football all the way around. It's not even the coaching. I mean, Sal can say all he wants, and all these other guys can say all he wants. And hell, for all you could say anything you want to about it. It's not all about coaching. There's players on this roster that are not NFL capable players. I don't care what anybody says. So I would love to hear your opinion on the game and your opinion on the roster, or possibly Vrabel, and we lead into that.
Did I lose you there?
You're frozen. There you go. But
yeah, got some bad weather down in South Jersey, so You
keep it
froze
down
for a
there.
second. Yeah.
No, I said, there's bad. I don't want to blame Vrabel all too much because there's bad football players on this team. So, I mean, yeah, the loss was atrocious. Kind of knew it that we were going to do it. I picked us to win. I mean, just because I'm a Titans fan, I want them to win. But you can't put all the blame, like I said last week, on Vrabel. And I wish Sal was on this podcast because I'm going to get into it in a little bit with Vrabel because I would just like to hear your thought before we get into stuff like that on what you think about Vrabel, the performance of the football team, and the roster in general.
I mean, my frustration with Vrabel is just he seems unmotivated and lackadaisical and just seems like he doesn't give a shit. And, your strength as a coach is you're supposed to be a motivator, a leader of men. He hasn't seemed motivated since the New England retired his jersey. He hasn't sounded excited since, he was in New England for that ceremony. And it's frustrating. And I won't be all that surprised if they let him go at the end of the year. And if they do, it is what it is. We're thankful for what he did for us. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's a what have you done for me lately league. People want to say roster this, roster that. There's rumors that Vrabel holds a lot of power within this franchise. So I'm really not buying into the roster because he definitely has some say over it. He also has say over who he brings in to coach this team. And he basically just kind of dunked on himself with the press conference because if he's bringing in these coaches, on his own accord, he said after the game at the press conference that they were outcoached. So what does that say about you, Vrabel? You bring in these guys and then you openly admit that you were outcoached in that game. It seems like you're being outcoached more often than not lately. And the frustration is rising within the fan base, within the organization. It seems like with some interviews with players, there's maybe a little bit of dissension in the locker room. So, listen, there's a few bright spots. We have maybe our franchise quarterback, Jeffrey Simmons, is a stud. We know that. Jalen Duncan can maybe be a diamond in the rough. He's been playing well, I guess, on that right side, but this line still looks atrocious. I think this is the end of the road for Henry. Burks might be out for the year. It's kind of doom and gloom, and it's to the point where I said it last week. We might have more to gain by losing out than we do winning, a handful of games because right now I think we're positioned at 6th in the upcoming draft. And if we don't get Marvin Harrison Jr., I mean, I would love it, if we did. But if we don't, we can still snag one of these premier tackles. There's going to be 3 of them that probably go in the top 10, top 12. But other than that, I mean, there's nothing really to be excited about with this team, aside from the fact Levis could be our guy. What would a team look like if we didn't have Hopkins? How poor our receiving core is. Imagine if we didn't have him. I don't know. It's just I sound a little dejected, and it's probably because I am. This team has been frustrating us for a long time now, and I think we had some expectations this year where a lot of stood up to the mainstream media and said we're going to be a lot better than people think, and it just hasn't shown. So that's how I feel right now. I think everyone's job is rightfully so at stake, and you saw the Steelers fire Matt Canada. So where's that accountability with this organization? Because we know him and Tomlin are boys. The Steelers podcast told us that. So where's, why can't we do something like that? Shake it up during the season. We didn't do it with Downing. Seems like we're not going to do it with Kelly. It's just all around. It's frustrating. So
I'm going to tell you, we can make some noise. And here's the thing: first year offensive line coach Jason. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Like I said, I'm not here for an English class. Oh, I just know his name is Jason. He's not experienced in the NFL. He was a pretty good, decent college football coach. He's not making it in the NFL. He should be fired automatically right now. Defense. Shane Bowen has been absolutely horrible since the absence of Jim Schwartz. Jim Schwartz move on, the defense tanks. Arden Key was an absolute savage in training camp. Was it Arden Key that was really good, or was our offensive line really that bad? It seems to be both of them, okay? Arden Key has not been pressured. He's been absent in the pressures, sacks, everything like that. Our offensive line continues to be horrible. So if we're doing anything, I'm firing those 2 right away. Believe it or not, we're tied with in defense in total touchdowns given up, which is 19, tied for 4th best in the league. Don't know how that's possible. But like I said, we are holding teams to about 20 points per game. It's the offense that's the problem. Okay, and now we keep crapping on Vrabel that everybody wants him back, him fired, him can't. They don't want him to come back next year. I'm the total opposite. I'm all in on Vrabel because, like I said, John Robinson put us into purgatory on this. He's dealt the hand that he has to deal with. That's why he looks rejected at the post game pressers, at post games and practice press conferences all week. You would too, Vin. If you had a shit roster, you would too.
Millions of dollars. Be a fucking big boy. Sack up and put a smile on, dude. I'm tired of you're the coach of this franchise. You look like a fucking pissed off
you would be too,
girl, dude. I know I would be, but if I got paid $5 million a year to coach his team, I might smile a little bit.
Some stats that everyone thinks, Vrabel's such a bad coach. Yeah, we have 4 winning seasons with Vrabel. Vrabel's 51-41. That's a win percentage of .552. Okay, you have 4 winning seasons, 2 AFC championships, South banners back to back. You have an AFC South appearance. You have Coach of the Year. Now, let me ask you a question. Okay, since Sal ain't here and everybody on Twitter, wants Vrabel's head. If you put Bill Belichick on this team, Brian Daboll on this team, both of those teams have shit rosters. The Titans have a shit roster. Okay, you put them on the team, and Dan Campbell. Do you think is there a better outcome? Yes or no?
I mean, listen. All I know is sometimes when you get rid of a coach, teams respond to it. Look at Mike. Look at McDaniels, and then Antonio Pierce comes in. They win 2 out of 3.
Yeah, but McDaniels is cancer. He did it in Denver. He did it over here in Oakland. You have people vouching. Derrick Henry, out of all people, vouching. Mike Vrabel shouldn't go nowhere. Jeffrey Simmons says the same thing. He shouldn't be going nowhere. Mike Vrabel, if he leaves this franchise, if he takes Brandon Staley's job. That roster is absolutely loaded. You want to talk about a shit coach? Brandon Staley with the Chargers, shit coach. You put Daboll, you put Bill Belichick, you put Dan Campbell over there. They're going to be winning games.
Let me tell you something about Dan Campbell. Let me tell you something about Dan Campbell. They went 2-14. Dan Campbell had that team ready to play every week. Okay, they never quit on Dan Campbell.
Yeah, but he had a better roster.
As bad as they were. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say, wow, my hands are fat, man. Sausage fingers. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Dan Campbell would have this team playing a little more motivated. And maybe Daboll would too, because he took over a shit roster and took them to the playoffs. I think Vrabel is used to success his whole life. He probably was good in high school. He was good in college. He won 3 Super Bowls. He is a household name within the Patriots organization. This is the first time that he's faced a little bit of adversity. And he's acting like a fucking child.
No, absolutely not. We have a video of Vrabel at the press conference yesterday. I just want to bring it up so you can see it too. I don't know if you watched it, because this is what I'm talking about. People, everyone blaming Vrabel when if they're teaching something and they're not executing everything. Watch videos. I've watched videos all over the place. I rewatched the game yesterday. The whole offensive line missing assignments. Derrick Henry not going to a hole, trying to cut the other way. I mean, stuff is there. We're just getting beat, plain and simple. Before we get to the video, Sammy, you have Dylan Ray Dunes. Just look at the offense. You have Dylan Ray Dunes, not a capable lineman. You have Corey Brewer, not a capable lineman. Chris Hubbard was the only one that was pretty good. MPF, not good. All those guys are just absolutely terrible offensive line. I'm sorry to say it. We have a terrible offensive line. The wide receivers, they're not threats. They're blocking wide receivers, okay? You see guys like Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. All those guys are threats. We have DeAndre Hopkins. Treylon Burks, he has a concussion, but you know what? He's off the team. He can't stay healthy. 12 games for 400 yards and 1 touchdown for a first-round draft pick. It's not cutting it. I don't care. I'm done with him. We need playmakers on this team. That is what's killing us. Sammy, bring up that video for everybody and for Vinny to see what I'm talking about with Vrabel.
Just going back out there and coaching it and repping it and things like that. What gives you the confidence that coaching it and repping it with the same coaches?
Because I have the luxury of having played this game in this league, and I know what we're coaching. I know what we're teaching. I never blamed Dean Pease or Matt Patricia or Bill Belichick or Romeo Crennel or Rob Ryan. And I couldn't get to the pass rusher, or I missed a tackle, or I went the wrong way. And that's the luxury that I have. Never blamed a coach for my. Let me finish, and then you can interrupt me. And so I know what we're coaching, and I know what we're teaching. I'm in the meetings. We're going to continue to find ways to help our players, and to demand that they play with great effort and improve our details, improve our fundamentals, because I know that that's what works.
Your take on that, because he knows what he's coaching. We all know it. I was a coach. I don't know about you. I was a coach, back 5 years ago. We understood of game plans, implementing stuff, and if it wasn't executed, we failed. So who's to blame here? If NFL players are not doing their job, who's to blame? Is it Vrabel or is it them? Because like I said, we have a terrible roster. Bottom 5, bottom 3, I would say. It needs a whole different, a huge turnover this offseason, and I think Rand will do that with the money and the capital that we have.
I mean, listen, I don't understand the roster is bad. I get that, all right? Where my frustration lies with Vrabel is his whole aura the last month of the season. It's just been – he got frustrated with who was it? Tehran? Was that the clip with Tehran where he got frustrated, or was that a different clip?
Where
Tehran asked him to give him an example of something, and Vrabel
about the locker room.
Yeah, Vrabel got a little pissy, and Tehran's a class act. He's been on this show. It was a fair question, but it goes back to what I just said. It's for the first time probably in Vrabel's life that things aren't going his way, and instead of trying everything he can in his power, maybe to motivate his team, it seems like he's just like an immature child. He's acting like at times, even in that clip. I mean, I don't know, dude. I understand the roster's trash, but we praise Vrabel all offseason. He can coach a girls softball team to 7 wins. I mean, I'm just not seeing it right now. And I think everyone knows Vrabel can coach football. That is not the question. The question is, can he build this roster? Can he develop this talent? I think he's a head coach that if you need him, if you have a team that's ready to win, he's a great coach for you. I don't know if he's the coach to rebuild a roster. I just don't.
No, I'm like I said, I'm the total opposite. Just look, there's evidence right now with Bill Belichick, great coach, shit roster. Look 2 wins. Brian Dable, shit roster, great coach, no wins. Dan Campbell, he was everyone was calling for his head, and then all of a sudden he got the players that he wanted in there. Great coach. Brandon Staley's been doing it forever over there. Great roster, terrible coach. I mean,
listen, I won't be surprised if he comes back. All right, he's done a lot of things for this team. All I'm saying is I don't think there will be any there will be no hard feelings or any sad fans if he's let go, because I think even you, who's a Vrabel guy, would you be surprised if he was let go?
I would be surprised, yes. Even if they fire him midseason. The only 2 firings that I would see happen, and I'm not calling for anything, because it is unfair, but this is a business here. Now, if we're calling for something, I would say the offensive line coach, go get a veteran head coach. Everyone's been saying Mike Munchak. I don't care who it is. Get a veteran offensive line coach in here with the young guys and get an overhaul of linemen this offseason. The next one is Shane Bowen. He came in with Mike Vrabel. I've seen enough without him. I don't know if they had faith in Arden Key or whatever. The defense worked so much better with Jim Schwartz. I believe he was probably calling the defense instead of a defensive assistant or a defensive consultant, because since Jim Schwartz left, it's been abysmal. And wasn't Shane Bowen under Dean Pease too? As well.
Shane Bowen's been here for a while. I think.
He was under Dean Pease as well. So I mean, how you don't learn and develop, it's basically the same front besides Bud Dupree. It's just insert Arden Key. So I mean, I don't understand how you don't generate that pressure still.
Yeah,
Okay?
I mean, listen, man, this whole roster needs help, man, top to bottom, the staff. I mean, this is a big, not to talk about the offseason already, this is a huge offseason, okay? Because if they don't get it right this offseason, we're going to be at the bottom tier of the league. We're going to be in those 05, 06, 07, years where we were just really bad, The roster needs a lot of help. The coaching needs an overhaul. Who knows if Carthon holds the power, if Vrabel does. But that being said, everything's on the table, man. Don't be surprised if there's a complete overhaul in the offseason. Players, coaches.
I think you're right. Just because of the simple fact, sorry to interrupt you. Like I said,
No, it's all right.
we always do this on this podcast, but whatever.
I don't know
think
how much
you're
more
right.
we can keep talking about this fucking team anyway, man. Excuse my language.
I think you're right with the overhaul on coaching staff. If you remember, just thinking about it when you said that, they brought in Chris Harris, the defensive backs coach from Washington, and before he signed here, he interviewed in Houston as the defensive coordinator. I don't know why he didn't take that job, and he came over as the secondary coach over here. But I think that possibly Vrabel's going to give him the reins next year if Shane Bowen's fired this offseason.
Or if Vrabel's even still there, he can't give the reins to nobody if he's not there. You know,
like I said, Vrabel's not, in my opinion, Vrabel's not going anywhere. And people can come at me all they want. The proof is in the pudding. This roster is terrible. I beg anybody on Twitter, anybody that listens to this video, anybody out there as a Titans fan, who would come in here right now and win with this football team and roster? Nobody.
The Jarett, you're kind of missing the point, though, man.
No, I'm not missing the point. If you keep implementing things and guys are not doing their job, Vin, if you go to work and your boss says, Vin, you have to do this, you have to do blah, 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 and you don't do it, whose fault is that? Is it your boss's fault that you're not providing the work, or is it your fault that you're not doing it? That South Jersey storm's got Vinny frozen over there. I got a little earthquake going on right now. I don't know what he's doing over here. Did you hear me?
No, not at all. I keep losing you.
Keep that storm down there for once. I said if you go to work and your boss says, Vin, you have to get this done, you have to do this, all this, blah, 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 right? And you don't do anything. Whose fault is that? That's your fault. It's not your boss's fault. You know what you have to do.
I just think sometimes you need a new face in there. And it's not that he can't coach. We know he can coach. But it's been 2 years now. The proof is in the pudding. I mean, he's what in his last 17 games? 3-14?
17-20. Yeah. 3.
Yeah, I mean, we've lost a lot of games now. His attitude is visibly pissy, just like mine is this show, because I'm frustrated. But guess what? I don't get paid what he gets paid. So I can be upset. You know, I spend a lot of money going to games, flying all over the country, and I have a right to be upset that our head coach, who is supposed to be this leader of men, is acting like an immature, high school girl. It's not that this roster is bad. I understand that happens. It's the fact that he seems uninterested. Okay. It's visible the last month, and that's where my frustration is. You can talk all your junk about what coaches could do better with this team. I'll tell you what, I think Dan Campbell would put a smile on his face and try to motivate his team. You see Brian Daboll going apeshit over Tommy DeVito, praising him. We haven't heard Vrabel say barely anything about Will Levis's performance, So it's just he seems uninterested where, he seems uninterested in the job right now is where my frustration lies. So I don't know how much more we can keep talking about.
So that's the Vrabel talk. That's a Vrabel talk. We're going to talk about the Panthers really quick before something happens in South Jersey with Vinny's connection again. Vin, we're hosting the 1-9 Carolina Panthers at home this week with Bryce Young and company. Do you see us winning this game? Because we're not going to do a little podcast this week because we have Thanksgiving. So we're going to spend some time with our families and focus on football and the turkey. So what do you think our expectations are at home this week?
I think it's a coin flip. I could see us winning. I could see us losing. A part of me kind of hopes we lose, because I want as high of a pick as possible. But I won't be surprised either way. I really won't. A part of me thinks we should win this game. I probably think we are a better team, but nothing surprises me anymore with this team. No. I think it's a coin flip. I don't have a coin in front of me, but flip it. Give one side to the Titans, one side to the Panthers, and I think that's what this game is, a true coin flip.
Yeah, for real. I mean, I don't even know anymore, to be honest with you. All I know is this is looking at the stats right now. It is a very evenly matched game. We average 16 points. They average 16 points. It's split right down the middle with offense. I mean, just the keys to victory is obviously contain Bryce Young. Don't let him be mobile. Try to implement a pass rush, try to feed off the energy. Shout out to the fans that are going to the game at Nissan Stadium this week. Bring the energy. Give us something positive a little bit this game. Even if you don't want to win, if you want to secure that top 3 draft pick, if you want to secure something else, it's still our team. We still got a root for the Titans. In general, we're gonna have game picks later on in the week. We're gonna post it on our Twitter page. But I see something positive coming out of this game. I'm just gonna give you a little spoiler. I do pick them to win. I'm not gonna tell you the score yet, but I do see that this is the only win on the schedule for us the rest of the way out.
I just hope both teams have fun.
Yeah, hope both teams have fun.
That's about it. Hopefully there's brighter days ahead. I didn't mean to sound all angry tonight, but the weather's bad. My computer's going in and out. This team got me frustrated. It's just the perfect storm, for lack of a better term. But I hope that everyone out there, Titans Nation, Titans Twitter, the Titans organization, I even hope Mike Vrabel has a good Thanksgiving. I do. I hope some yams and some turkey and whatever puts a smile on his miserable face as of late. So,
are you a turkey guy, real quick?
No, I'm not.
Really?
Yeah,
I'm gonna have a little Friendsgiving over next year. I'm gonna smoke a turkey for you because a smoked turkey is very juicy. I make everything nice. You guys come over next year for Thanksgiving.
All right. Well,
Friendsgiving.
Yeah, there you go. We'll invite the whole crew. Maybe our Canucks will come down to the Garden State as well.
That's it.
But with that being said, we missed out tonight. Hopefully he starts feeling better and gets back on the show. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Stay safe. Appreciate your friends and family. Tell them you love them. Enjoy Thursday. And with that being said, fire Mike Vrabel, Sammy, send me out.
Oh, my God.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Talking Titans on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.